There is a quiet law that governs the way life unfolds, a law so subtle that most never see it, but powerful enough to shape the entire course of a life. It is this: where your mind goes, your life follows. If your mind is caught in scarcity, your life becomes a chase, a restless, endless pursuit of something always just out of reach. If your mind clings to fear, your steps are timid, your voice is uncertain, your dreams shrink before they even have a chance to breathe. But if your mind is anchored in focus, in calm certainty, in quiet belief in abundance, then something shifts. The very air around you feels different. Opportunities begin to flow toward you, not because the world has changed, but because you have. The Stoics understood this truth long before modern psychology gave it a name. They taught that the mind is the architect of life. Not fate, not fortune, not circumstances, the mind. And what you consistently focus on, with thought, with feeling, with belief, eventually shapes what you experience. To focus is to choose. To choose what you will give your energy to, what you will nourish, what you will build, what you will become. But true focus is not the frantic strain most people imagine. It is not the clenched jaw, the furrowed brow, the desperate effort to control every variable. That is not focus. That is fear masquerading as determination. Real focus is quiet. It is steady. It is the unwavering gaze of someone who knows where they are going, but does not panic about how they will get there. It is the calm of a mind that trusts itself, and trusts the unfolding of life. There is a difference between focus born of fear and focus born of trust. Fearful focus is narrow, rigid, brittle. Trustful focus is expansive, fluid, resilient. The Stoics taught this difference through their lives, not just their words. Marcus Aurelius, facing the collapse of an empire, wrote not in anger or anxiety but in serenity, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." When you understand that your focus is your true power, the game changes. Life becomes less about fighting circumstances and more about mastering your inner weather. You begin to realize that focusing on abundance attracts abundance. Focusing on gratitude cultivates more reasons for gratitude. Focusing on growth invites growth. Every thought you invest energy in is a seed you plant. And in time, the seeds become gardens or deserts. It is easy to slip into unconscious focus, to let fear set the agenda, to let doubt write the narrative, to let past disappointments become the lens through which you see the future. But you are not a prisoner of your past focus. You are a creator of your present one. Every day, every moment, you have the choice. Where will you place your attention? On what is lacking or on what is possible? On what has gone wrong or on what could go right? On what you fear or on what you hope? The focus you choose is not just a mental exercise. It becomes the magnetic field around you. It colors your actions, your energy, your very being. And the world, like a mirror, reflects that energy back to you. If you hold a lens of scarcity over your life, even abundance will look like insufficiency. If you hold a lens of fear over your journey, even small setbacks will seem like insurmountable failures. But if you hold a lens of possibility, if you train your mind to focus on growth, gratitude, opportunity, the world will rise to meet you in ways you could not have predicted. This is not magic. It is not superstition. It is the natural consequence of where you choose to direct the most powerful force you possess, your attention. You are the sculptor. Your mind is the chisel. Your life is the stone. The question is not whether you are creating, you are always creating. The question is, what are you creating? To live deliberately is to focus deliberately. To focus deliberately is to live deliberately. So pause. Step back from the noise. Step back from the anxious momentum that pulls at your sleeve day after day. Ask yourself quietly, honestly, what have I been focusing on? And where has that focus been leading me? If you do not like the direction, you have the power to change it. Not by force, not by frantic effort, but by quiet clarity, by steady intention. There is no greater freedom than realizing you are not at the mercy of circumstance. You are at the mercy of your own focus. And focus, unlike fate, is yours to master. The Stoics did not believe in waiting passively for fortune to favor them, nor did they believe in raging uselessly against fate. They believed in preparing their minds to meet whatever life delivered with strength, serenity, and resilience. This is your task too. It begins not in grand gestures but in small, invisible moments. The moment you catch yourself spiraling into worry and choose to redirect your thoughts. The moment you feel doubt creeping in and respond with self-compassion instead of self-criticism. The moment you choose to believe, not blindly but bravely, that what you seek is not beyond you but within you. Each of these moments is a thread. Together they weave the fabric of your life. And the quality of that fabric depends on the focus you bring to each stitch. Choose wisely. Because whether you realize it or not, you are creating the next chapter of your life right now, with every thought you choose to nurture and every thought you choose to release. The mind is a garden. Focus is the gardener. And your life is the harvest. There is a paradox at the heart of all striving. The more tightly you grip something, the more likely it is to slip through your fingers. Imagine holding water in your hand. If you cup your palm gently, the water rests there easily. But if you clench your fist, desperate not to lose it, the water leaks out through your fingers. The tighter you squeeze, the more you lose. This is not just a metaphor. It is a law of life. When your mind is tense, desperate, fixated on controlling every detail, you do not draw success closer. You push it away. You create an atmosphere of strain, of fear, of scarcity. And the world, ever sensitive to the subtle signals you emit, responds in kind. The Stoics knew this. They spoke of apatheia, not apathy in the modern sense, but a serene detachment, a calmness that arises from understanding what is and is not within your control. You cannot force the universe to obey your timeline. You cannot wrestle your dreams into existence by sheer willpower. But you can prepare yourself. You can cultivate a mind that is steady, resilient, receptive. A mind that does not panic when the path seems uncertain. A mind that moves forward with quiet confidence, trusting that what is meant for you will arrive, not through force but through flow. To succeed in anything meaningful, you must learn to work with life, not against it. To dance with uncertainty, not fight it. Relaxed confidence is not laziness. It is not indifference. It is strength. It is clarity. It is the posture of someone who understands that tension signals mistrust. In themselves, in life, in the process. And mistrust breeds mistakes, missteps, missed opportunities. The greatest victories often come not from striving harder, but from stepping back, loosening your grip, and allowing space for possibility to breathe. This does not mean abandoning effort. It means refining it, channeling it, directing it wisely. You take the steps you can. You prepare as well as you can. You show up fully. But you release the feverish need to control how and when the results must come. Because desperate energy repels. Calm, focused, steady energy attracts. When you operate from relaxed confidence, you become like a magnet. People sense your certainty. They feel drawn to your steadiness. Opportunities seem to find you not because you are lucky, but because you are open, receptive, attuned to the flow of life rather than battling against it. The Stoics practiced this by visualizing obstacles before they happened, a practice called premeditatio malorum. They mentally rehearsed adversity not to worry but to prepare. So when difficulties came, they did not flinch. They did not collapse into fear. They met life on its terms with a mind already tempered for the challenge. You can do the same. Instead of obsessing over when your goals will manifest, focus on who you are becoming in the process. Instead of agonizing over outcomes you cannot control, anchor yourself in the small, powerful actions you can take today. Work hard. Care deeply. But hold it all with light hands. Water cannot be grasped tightly. It must be cradled gently. Life is the same. When you let go of the need to force outcomes, you create space for better outcomes than you could have imagined. When you trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by, you free yourself from the paralysis of fear. When you focus on the process, showing up fully, giving your best, staying grounded in your principles, you win every day regardless of the results. Because the true success is not just achieving what you want. It is becoming someone who no longer needs the achievement to validate their worth. You become steady, unshakable, centered. And ironically, from that place of non-desperation, the very things you once chased begin to find their way to you. This is not mysticism. It is psychological reality. A relaxed, confident mind sees more possibilities. It notices opportunities that a panicked, desperate mind overlooks. It acts with precision rather than frenzy. It radiates trust rather than fear. The world responds accordingly. When you live with relaxed focus, when you work with intensity but without tension, when you move with purpose but without panic, you step into a flow that carries you further than force ever could. This is the way of the Stoic. This is the way of the wise. And it begins not with outer action, but with inner stillness. Practice it. Each time you feel yourself clenching, your mind racing, your heart tightening, your breath shortening, pause. Breathe. Remember, the water flows most easily through open hands. And so does success. Relax. Trust. Focus. Let go. And let life meet you where you are, stronger, clearer, freer than you have ever been before. There is a rhythm to life that cannot be forced. You may have a plan, a vision, a dream burning in your chest. You may believe that now, this instant, is the moment everything should unfold. But the universe moves according to its own timing, not yours. This is the wisdom behind the idea of divine timing. The Stoics taught that there is a natural order to things, a logos, a reason woven into the fabric of existence. They urged us to align ourselves with it, to live according to nature, to trust that what is unfolding is exactly what needs to unfold, even if we cannot yet see the full picture. The frustration arises when your expectations collide with reality, when you want something now but life asks you to wait, when you think you should be further ahead but life says, not yet. In those moments, the temptation is to push harder, to force outcomes, to panic and believe that if you don't make it happen now, it will never happen. But this urgency is a lie. The truth is more subtle, more demanding. Some things must ripen on their own. No amount of impatience will coax a seed to sprout before its time. No amount of forcing will make the river flow faster. Your role is to plant, to tend, to water, and to trust. The lesson of divine timing is not passive resignation. It is active faith. Faith in your preparation. Faith in your persistence. Faith in the unseen movements of life that are aligning people, events, and opportunities beyond your view. Trust does not mean inactivity. Trust means taking aligned action without clinging to immediate results. It means working with devotion and releasing the desperate grip on how and when the rewards must arrive. It means understanding that delay is not denial, that a detour is not defeat, that sometimes what feels like a setback is actually the preparation ground for something greater. In this quiet trust, you become powerful. You are no longer rattled by every delay. You no longer measure your worth by the speed of your progress. You no longer live enslaved by the anxious timeline your mind tries to impose. Instead, you move with grace. You persist with quiet certainty. You carry yourself as someone who knows, deep in their bones, that what is truly meant for them cannot be lost. And so you work with care. You build patiently. You refine yourself daily, knowing that when the door opens, you will be ready. This is not fantasy. It is how great things are built. A towering tree does not rise in a day. A deep river does not carve its valley overnight. True mastery, true greatness, true fulfillment. These things take time. And often, the longer the preparation, the deeper the roots. By trusting in divine timing, you free yourself from needless suffering. You stop living in perpetual dissatisfaction, always chasing the next thing, always believing happiness lies just beyond the next achievement. Instead, you find peace here, now, in the unfolding journey. You trust that if something is not happening yet, there is a reason. Maybe you are still being shaped. Maybe circumstances are still aligning. Maybe what you think you want is less than what life intends to give you. Trust allows you to stay open. It keeps you from settling for less out of fear. It keeps you from sabotaging yourself with desperate action. It keeps you aligned with your deeper wisdom, your true path, your authentic power. And while you wait, you do not waste the waiting. You sharpen your skills. You deepen your character. You fortify your mind. You strengthen your spirit. So that when the moment comes, you are not scrambling in fear but stepping forward with strength. The Stoics remind us, the obstacle becomes the way. The delay, the detour, the disappointment, all of it can be turned to your advantage if you meet it with the right mind. Patience is not passivity. It is active readiness. Trust is not naivety. It is mature surrender to a larger wisdom. Divine timing is not an excuse to avoid effort. It is an invitation to align effort with faith. You are being shaped even when you cannot see it. You are being prepared even when nothing seems to be happening. You are moving forward even when it feels like you are standing still. Trust that. Relax into that. Live from that. And when your moment arrives, when the doors open, when the opportunities appear, when everything you have prepared for comes rushing in, you will not be surprised. You will simply smile, steady and calm, knowing that you were ready all along. Because true success was never just about achieving the goal. It was about becoming the person who could hold it with grace. The river does not rush, and yet it carves mountains. So too will you if you trust the flow of life and continue to show up, moment by moment, day by day, with unwavering focus, quiet faith, and open hands. There comes a point in the journey when you realize, all the striving, all the effort, all the desperate grabbing at life was never the path to real power. Real power is quiet. It is steady. It does not announce itself with noise or demands. It reveals itself in the man or woman who walks through chaos with unshaken eyes. In the one who meets delays not with panic but with preparation. In the soul who, even when denied what they desire, grows stronger instead of bitter. This is the art of focus. You were never meant to control everything. You were never asked to predict every outcome or to bend life to your timetable. You were only ever called to show up fully to your role, to pour your heart into your effort, and then to trust the unfolding. When you align your mind with what you can control, your actions, your mindset, your preparation, and release everything else, you step into rare air. You become untouchable by circumstance. You begin to realize that most people lose not because life defeated them, but because they defeated themselves, through distraction, through desperation, through resistance. You see it all around you. People trapped in their own tension. People crushed under their own timelines. People too busy panicking to take meaningful action. People demanding fruits from trees they never planted. Focus is what separates those who create their destiny from those who react to it. And focus, true focus, is impossible without trust. You must believe, not in guarantees but in principles. You must believe that effort compounds, that preparation matters, that there is an invisible architecture to life, and if you keep showing up with intention and integrity, you are building something even if you cannot yet see it. This is the paradox. Focus is both active and surrendered. You act with intensity but you release attachment to immediate results. You give your all but you let go of forcing. You move toward your goals but you are not defined by their timeline. When you can hold these opposites, effort and surrender, discipline and softness, you move differently. You no longer chase. You magnetize. You no longer grasp. You attract. You no longer demand. You allow. This is not passivity. This is not laziness. This is mastery. And it is available to you if you are willing to trust the process more than your own impatient mind. The Stoics understood this at a level most modern people have forgotten. Marcus Aurelius, at the height of empire, surrounded by pressures few of us can imagine, wrote in his private journal not about conquering others, but about conquering himself. About keeping his mind disciplined, his emotions balanced, his actions virtuous. Because he knew, what happens inside you determines how you experience everything outside you. Seneca taught that a wise man is content with whatever happens, because he understands that he controls his mind, not the world. Epictetus, once a slave, taught that freedom is not the absence of external chains but the mastery of internal reactions. They all knew, the real battlefield is within, and so must you. The world will pull at you. It will try to seduce you into noise, urgency, comparison, fear. It will tempt you to react, to scramble, to conform, to despair. But you can choose differently. You can choose focus. You can choose the slow, steady path of alignment. You can choose to keep your eyes on what you control, your mind, your actions, your values, and let the rest move around you like whether you observe but do not become. This is what separates builders from drifters, winners from victims, creators from reactors. Understand, every moment you spend in tension, in fear, in chasing, you dilute your power. You leak your energy. You move away from the magnetic center that would draw opportunities toward you naturally. Relaxation is not weakness. It is alignment. Relaxation rooted in trust is what allows you to act from clarity instead of desperation. To move with precision instead of panic. To persist when others collapse. And this relaxation is nourished by gratitude. Every day you wake up and anchor yourself not in what is missing, but in what is present. You reclaim your mind. You realize, I already have enough to begin. I already have breath, spirit, capacity. Everything else is bonus. Gratitude turns lack into abundance, fear into faith, striving into steady progress. Gratitude makes you magnetic because it aligns you with the truth. Life is already happening for you, not against you. Every difficulty you face is shaping you. Every delay you encounter is refining you. Every detour you walk is teaching you. Resistance is only born when you believe life owes you a specific outcome, on your schedule, according to your plan. But when you realize life owes you nothing, and yet offers you everything for your growth, you stop resisting. You start flowing. You start using every moment, every challenge, every blessing as fuel. You become unstoppable because nothing outside you determines your state. You move from scarcity to sufficiency, from tension to ease, from helplessness to creative power. And from that space you act. Not just any action. Inspired action. Action that emerges from clarity, not desperation. Action that feels both natural and challenging, both energizing and purposeful. Action that aligns not just with external goals, but with your internal values. When you move from inspired action, you do not need to force. Doors open. Connections happen. Opportunities arise. And when obstacles appear, as they always will, you are not shaken. You adapt. You learn. You persist. You trust. This is how great lives are built. Not in frantic sprints, but in steady alignment. Not in desperate grasps, but in relaxed mastery. Not by trying to control every variable, but by focusing on the one thing always within your power, your mind. If you want to live a life of deep fulfillment, real success, and quiet greatness, begin here. Master your focus. Trust the timing. Relax into gratitude. Release resistance. Take inspired action. Visualize vividly, embody the feeling of success now, and let that feeling guide your steps. Live today as the person you aspire to be, not someday but now, through your focus, your energy, your choices. And when you inevitably drift, because you will, return to center. Return to the quiet place inside you that knows you are already enough. You're already on the path. You are already being shaped by something larger than you. Trust it. Move with it. Breathe with it. And watch as the life you once strained to chase begins to flow toward you, naturally, effortlessly, powerfully. This is the Stoic way. This is the art of true manifestation. This is the power of focused, relaxed, aligned living. It is not just for a few chosen ones. It is for anyone brave enough to surrender control, sharpen focus, and trust the process. It is for you, if you choose it. And when you do, you will realize it was never about forcing life to deliver what you wanted. It was always about becoming the person who could hold the life you were destined for. Calmly, gratefully, powerfully, unshaken, unstoppable, alive. If this spoke to you, subscribe to Stoic Way for more timeless wisdom. Comment below. What is one thing you are letting go of today, and what is one thing you are focusing on instead?